Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I want to confess to you that I went to this other traditional healer. I did not know that I'll end up becoming a ritualist. All that I wanted was that I just wanted some lucky charm so that I can use it. At that time, I did not even know that when you get these lucky charms, there is a huge possibility of you becoming a ritualist as well. So this is my own story on how I became a ritualist. At that time, I was still a reckless young man. My friends, all of my friends, it's either they were thieves, armed robbers, anyone that was involved in the criminal underworld, that was my friend. There was this other guy that I was a friend of who was staying in Bari. They were armed robbers. They were using some charms, and when they would go into Harare, into the CBD, with their charms, somehow they would know that this person has money. They did not want to waste their time robbing people that did not have money. If they would rob a person, that person will be having huge amounts of money on them. So those were the people that I was friends with, and I spoke with them and I told them that they were supposed to take me to the place where they were getting these charms, because in my own little world, I wanted to become a boxer. I was into boxing as well as fighting with a lot of people, and I was a gambler. I was always gambling, and in order for me to make money through gambling, meaningful money, so that I can earn a living, I was supposed to use charms, because there was this other guy whom we used to call Apiri. This man, he was from Malawi. So each and every time that I would bet against him, for sure, I would lose. So he kept on telling me that you can never bet against a person who uses lucky charms. I told him that I also wanted him to give me those lucky charms that he was using, but Apiri would refuse to give me his lucky charms, and saying that I would use them against him if it will ever happen that he gives me his lucky charm. This man, the man from Malawi, used to say, Ndirimo Branda, it is in my blood. These lucky charms, they are in my blood. So most of the people in those years that had migrated from Malawi and that were staying in Zim, they used to call themselves Mabrandai, since most of them, they came from Blantyre in Malawi. This man, I begged him, but still he refused to give me his lucky charms. That man, he had so many weird stories. When I would press him and I would say, you are saying that this lucky charm, it is in your blood, it flows with your blood, right? So this bottle that you once told me about, you said that you have a lucky charm oil bottle that you use before you bet against me. Where is it? Can you just show me? Then he will say, no, I cannot show it to you. Sometimes he would say weird stuff like, I can fly back to Blantyre. Tonight, I can fly to Blantyre. Then there were times when he would change his story. He would say, my brother is the one who brings these charms from Blantyre, Malawi, bringing them to Harare. I then said, with this old man Apiri, we are not going anywhere. He's not going to assist me, even though he would brag that his brother in Malawi was a big witch, a very big witch doctor who was known by a lot of people, but still he refused to assist me. I returned back to Mbare to my friends, the armed robbers, because those guys, the charms that they were using, there were many times when they would tell of stories where they were on the run, and then they would stop in a certain village so that they can drink some beer. And then they would find out that there might be some detectives, some police detectives that will be in the same area looking for them, and they will be drinking beer at the same place, and they would even drink beer with the cops that were searching for them. Only after they would have left the drinking beer hall, that is when the police will come back to their senses, and they'll be like, those guys that we were drinking beer with, they are the ones that we are searching for. They will try to look for them and they will never find them. Those were the charms that they were using just in case if they would ever get caught. I begged them to assist me because during those days, I will do just anything to make money. I was selling weed, marijuana. So I used to get this high grade from Mutare. There was an old guy that used to sell me his marijuana that he used to plant and grow in the mountains. So it was really good, high grade. And a lot of people of my customers, they used to love that grade that I would get from Mutare. But the challenge was that I was a man that had so much bad luck in each and everything that I would try to do. Each and every step of the way, I was always facing bad luck. There were cops that knew that I was selling marijuana, the weed, but they would come and arrest me. They would take it away from me. Instead of going with me to the police station, they would let me go, and then they would sell the weed to other drug dealers. After begging this armed robber for a very long time, that was when he said, "It is fine. Let me see what I can do." He told me that there was this other old woman who was a traditional healer who was staying in a place that is called Mandara. We then went to Mandara, and when we went there, that was when we met with this traditional healer. I then spoke with that traditional healer about the issue. I said that I just wanted some lucky charm so that I can win whenever I would bet against Apiri and other gamblers that I used to bet against. And also in the business of selling marijuana, I wanted good luck so that the police can at least leave me to make money. That old woman then said, "Okay, it is fine, I can assist you, but I'm not going to help you just for free. You have to pay me. And these things that I'm going to give to you, they cannot work for free. They also need to be paid. I don't know if you'll be able to do it." I said, anything. I can do anything. With the way that I am suffering, with the bad luck that I am facing, I can do anything that you tell me. That was when she gave me a hunting knife and she said, "This hunting knife, what you are supposed to do is that find a place where they are still building a house and they have not yet completed building that house. And then you go and you stick it into the soil and you leave it there. That is when we can start talking." And then I said, "It is fine." I took the hunting knife and I went to an area where I knew very well that the owner, ever since he had started renovating his house, he was no longer staying there. He did not have money and he could not complete his building project that he had started because he had lost so much money. And I knew very well that it was going to take a very long time before he could be able to start building again. I took my hunting knife and I left it there. And I had been told that this hunting knife that I had used in the ritual, I was supposed to leave it there for about 3 weeks and I was supposed to take it again. I was then given an instruction whereby I was supposed to go to our village. I went to our village and then I went on my father's grave. I took some soil. This was a ritual of making sure that my father's spirit can rise up again and then I can use my father's spirit. I did that ritual as well. I had been told that my mother was supposed to die. The only problem was that the way that my mother was going to die, it was very complicated. So me and that traditional healer, we had organized that what was supposed to happen, she was going to give me one of her granddaughter who was going to work as a maid at my mother's house, taking care of her, and after that she was going to poison my mother. This was part of the ritual that we did. When I arrived in the village, then I found wrong in each and everything that my mother's maid was doing, and then I fired her. I then hired that traditional healer's granddaughter and I left her with my mother. There was even a time when my mother refused and said, "You cannot look for a maid for me. When it is time for me to look for a maid, I will do it all by myself. You do not have to do it," but I forced her. The reason as to why my mother hated this girl that I had brought to the village, it was because one could see that she is a woman who is possessed. See, she had that demonic attitude. She was never liked by anyone. You could just tell that this girl is under the influence of the devil himself. That was why my mom did not want me to leave that girl with her. That little witch stayed with my mother for about 2 months. That was when she poisoned my mother. The type of a poison that she gave to my mother, it was called slow poison. And then my mother passed away. Before my mother had passed away, I knew that it was going to happen, and I had been given an instruction in which I was supposed to buy a coffin. The coffin was the one that we were going to use for my mother's burial. I was keeping this coffin at our home. My wife did not even know that we had a coffin in our home. What happened on that day when I brought this coffin? She and our kids, they were fast asleep, and I pretended as if I had gone to drink beer. And then when I returned back, I had the coffin in my car. I then took it to one of the spare bedroom, which I kept locked at all the times. Just like the instruction that I had been given by that traditional healer, I had been told that I had to make sure that my mother was going to be buried in that coffin. So when we heard that my mom had passed away, that was when I told my wife that she and the kids, they were supposed to go to the village and I would follow, because there were other plans that I needed to make. Some of my relatives, they said that they were going to meet up with me at our village. When I was left all alone, I then spoke with my friends, and then we loaded the coffin into the vehicle and we traveled to the village. When we arrived in the village, there were strange things that started to happen, because my mother's dead body started to swell and swell such that it could not even fit in the coffin. And according to our Shona custom, if such a thing were to happen, it simply means that there is something that has gone wrong and the burial is not supposed to take place. And if such a situation was to happen, then a traditional healer is brought to the funeral so that he can see what is taking place in the spiritual realm. There was no way that I was ever going to allow that, for I was going to be exposed if a traditional healer was going to be brought to the funeral so that you can see what was going on. Why was my mother's dead body swelling such that it could not even fit in the coffin? Just like what many ritualists do, they always hide with Christianity when it suits them. Then they will say that, I am a Christian, I will never go and consult with a traditional healer. That is what I said. During the family meeting, I stood up and I said, we are a family that prays. We are Christians. This woman that is lying there, when she was still alive, she never visited a Sangoma. She never went to a witch doctor. So why do you want to trouble her spirit? Why do you want to call a traditional healer when she is now dead? Let her rest in peace. You can never consult with a witch doctor, for God's sake. We are Christians. There was one amongst my siblings that I saw that he was very clever, and I was scared that if I was going to let him go, one day he would have me exposed. From that day going onwards, he was like my enemy, and I was going to deal properly with him for everything that he had said, for trying to stand up to me, trying to bring a traditional healer so that he can find out what had happened to our mother. I hated him for that. The other ones, they were quiet. He was the one who was too talkative. From that day going onwards, I had a plan that I had, and I was going to set a trap for my little brother. I returned back to Harare with my family. We started businesses that we were running successfully. I then spoke with my little brother and I said, you now have a big family, and I can see that you are suffering in poverty. How about I take you to the city so that at least you can get a job? I know a lot of people that can give you a job rather than to stay in the villages whilst you are suffering like this. He did not know that this was a trap that I was setting out for him. Once you become a ritualist, you become friends with so many traditional healers. There was one who was assisting me in this matter concerning my little brother. I did not want that other traditional healer to know that this is what I had planned. My hatred for my little brother was so much at that time that I did not want to argue with her on what was wrong and what was right. I just wanted it to be done, and to be done at that time. That traditional healer had tried to reason with me. She even said, it is not his fault. He is a man that just lost his mother. That is why he said everything that he said at the funeral. You need to be the bigger man. You need to understand that if it was you as well who did not know that his brother performed these rituals, you would be feeling so much pain. Forgive him. She was a woman who hated people who did those type of rituals where they just wanted other people to suffer. She never liked it. She tried to reason with me, but I did not want that. I wanted my sibling to suffer so much. But what she did not understand was that I was scared, and I was really scared because I knew that if it ever happened that he would be given a chance and he was going to expose me to the whole world that I was the one who had sacrificed our mother. I was the one who had done such an evil thing. I wanted him gone. After I had convinced my little brother to come with me to Harare, I then sat with him down and I said, "Dear brother, the other reason as to why I have brought you to the city, it is because I keep on having these dreams and I don't know the meaning of that dream. So I want us to go to a traditional healer." He was said, "Oh dear brother, so now you want us to go to a traditional healer. Why? What has changed?" And I said, "It is because of these dreams that I have been having. I keep on seeing our mother. She does comes to me in my dreams and I don't know what to do. The only place where we can get these answers is from a Sangoma." And I told him that I suspected that one of our uncle, because we had our uncle who had so many businesses in the villages. He had shops, butcheries. So I said, I think he is the one who bewitched and sacrificed our mother. Back in those days in Zim, if you will start a lot of businesses, especially in the villages, it was normal for that person to be a ritualist, but not my uncle. No, he was innocent. He was just a good businessman. But people were so used to the fact that a lot of people who would open these grocery stores in the villages, they were ritualists, and that was the truth that was happening during those days. So people were saying that he was the one who had sacrificed our mother, his sister, and my little brother agreed, not knowing that me taking him to the traditional healer, it was a trap that I had set out for him. We then went to the traditional healer and I told him that this Zangoma was the one who was going to tell us what exactly we were supposed to do. We were then given some food before we could enter into the consultation room. But what my little brother did not know was that in the food that he had been given, that food had been mixed with some charms that were going to make him lose his mind, like to go crazy. When we entered into the consultation room, this traditional healer, since I had paid him already, he started acting as if he was under the possession of a spirit. He was just faking everything. The old man then started speaking with us, even though it was just all fake. He said, "I can see that you, young man, you have brought yourself before me, and I can see that you want me to help you. Yes, indeed, I am going to assist you. But there is a cleansing ceremony that is supposed to be done. This cleansing ceremony has to be done because I can see in the spiritual realm that you have this other uncle of yours. Quite an evil man he is. He is an evil man, but we are going to sort it out today. This cleansing ceremony has to be done far away from everyone. We are going to the forest where we are going to do this cleansing ceremony so that you can be okay. Because what I can see is that this man, after he had sacrificed your mother, he then woke up the spirit of your mother. Your mother right now visits you in your dreams and she has sexual intercourse with you. Am I lying? Your mother is now your wife, and it is not normal for that to happen, for a son to sleep with the spirit of your mother. Let us go into the forest so that I can assist you." We took the buckets that were filled with water. We then went into the forest. What my little brother did not know, that the water that was used to bath me, it was normal tap water mixed with some herbs. But the water that was used to bath him, it was water that had been used when they were bathing a corpse somewhere else. This ritual, it was done for one purpose only. My little brother, he was supposed to be followed by the spirits of the dead. We returned back from the cleansing ceremony. I then said, "Little brother, I'm going to look for a job for you, and you're going to work and you'll be able to take care of your family." And then that was when he started working, and I knew that it was not even going to last very long. Only after a couple of months, he then started to lose his mind. But this is how his madness started. He started complaining and saying that he had a terrible headache. When I saw that he was no longer okay, I then instructed my wife to go with him to the village, for this was what was supposed to happen. He was supposed to go there with someone else, and I was not supposed to go there to witness him running mad. Otherwise, the ritual was not going to be successful. Whilst my young brother was sick, there were rituals that I was supposed to do. Late at night, I would wake up, and then I would start a small fire. After the fire would have died down, then I would take the ashes and mix it with water, and then I would bath, because my mother's spirit would come to attack me each and every night. That is why I was always performing that ritual. That is why I was not allowed to go to the village so often, because when I would go to the village, my mother's spirit will get so angry and it will become so powerful and it will attack me even more. The reason as to why I forced my wife to go with my little brother to the village by the time that he started to run mad. When my little brother started running mad, the excuse that I used was that he had once dated a married woman and the husband was from Malawi. And I was thinking that maybe the husband had used some charms against the man that was dating his wife. What hurts me the most is that I was not even allowed to go and attend my own brother's funeral. So after he had been buried, I started to see him in my dreams. Sometimes I would wake up and I would see him in my bedroom getting ready to attack me. I would then insult him and I would say, "You are nothing but a dead man to me. You are a spirit, no longer a human being. Your spirit does not belong in this world anymore. Return back to the land of the dead. Return back, for you do not belong here anymore." Being a ritualist, Brother Nashi, it is not easy because each and every time after you would have killed someone, when the spirit wakes up fighting with you, you need another powerful traditional healer to assist you. I became friends with another traditional healer. As I am speaking with you, I have a big suitcase that is full of charms. I would go to this traditional healer. That healer would give me this charm saying, these ones you bath with them, these ones you drink them, this one you are supposed to do this and that, so that the spirit will not haunt you. I have so many charms that I have forgotten what is the purpose of some of those charms. And it is normal when you become a ritualist because you won't have peace. You have to be friends with traditional healers in order for you to at least find some peace in your life. I remember that there was this other time when I was in pain. I don't know what was happening. You know, that place where the poops come out. There was a time when I would get so sick that there would be blisters that would be coming out of that place. There was one traditional healer who is from Zambia who started helping me during those days. What would happen was that the blisters would come out at the place where the poops is supposed to come out, and then the blister would go so big and then it would burst. After the blister would have burst, and then there would be an infection. It was really painful. I do not want to lie to you. I suffered during those years because of what I had done. I had sent my tokoloshi to go and attack one of my auntie. So this auntie of mine, her kids, after they saw the way that their mother passed away, it was quite strange. That was when they went and did a go back to sender. So that go back to sender was the one that was causing all those blisters to come out. And I was feeling so much pain. And I went to Zambia where I was assisted. But when they did that go back to sender, it was one night when I had returned back from drinking my alcohol. When I parked my car, that was when I saw a small fire that was burning. That small fire that was burning, it flew and it entered into my body and rested in my stomach. That was when I started to feel so much pain. Not even suspecting that it was a go back to sender. When I was feeling so much pain, I went to the doctors. It was only after when I realized that those kids, they did a go back to sender on me. And indeed, they had managed to do that. Again, I repeat that being a ritualist, it is not so easy. And most of the people, when they go to perform these rituals, sometimes you won't even know what you are getting yourself into. Because when I went there, all that I wanted was a lucky charm, but I ended up becoming this ritualist. Who could ever known that when I went to take these lucky charm oils, who could have ever suspected that one day after being given the lucky charm, it was going to be something that breathes, something that is alive. And having a tokoloshi, it is not an easy thing to do because they do what they want whenever they want to. Sometimes I can't even fall asleep because they come to me and they say, wake up, we need to talk. Wake up, we need to talk when you are tired. And if you refuse, they will show you flames. Sometimes when we are having a conversation, me and those tokoloshis, I start to get so sleepy. When I am getting sleepy like that, that is when those tokoloshis will start to beat me up like no man's business. That is how I became a ritualist, Brother Nashi. If you post my story, please tell me. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother, and that was the translation of the message that was sent to me. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.